deliver the last presentation about social media co-creation and experiences, creating enhanced customer experience. Dr. Barbara is a lecturer in the Faculty of Management at Bournemouth University.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Also would like to say hello to all the people following us online. And what I'm going to talk to today about is the topic that I've been working and basing my research on, which is something called social media, so generative technology, co-creation and experiences. And the idea is to tell you today about the idea of how we can combine those elements in order to create enhanced customer experiences. Okay, so let's start off. Now we're in the 21st century and there's a lot of things happening. As Leni also mentioned before, everything is changing, we're moving towards a lot of different economies and we're past product economy, we're past service economies, we're really heading towards and are fully already in the experience economy. And there are a lot of changes happening now. We can see the emergence and proliferation of all the new technologies, we can see consumer demands changing, new consumers demanding new things, consumers getting involved in social media. So there's a lot of changes happening that really transform the landscape of the experience economy, our society, and also businesses. And this is what I would like to focus on today. And what I would like to look at are three main factors. And the very first one, the one you can see in the center, is customer experiences. And how are customer experiences changing in the 21st century? In 2015, what do we define as customer experiences? What are compelling customer experiences and how can we create those in a business environment? Then I would like to look at the second bubble, as you can see, which is experience economy, but not just experience economy, but most importantly, the new concept of co-creation and how we can create those experiences. And then, of course, the third element, this is why we're all here today, is about technology and the use of technology and specifically social media in order to enhance experiences and in order to enhance co-creation. So those are the three main areas that I would like to cover in the next 20 minutes. Okay, so let's start off with the first concept, and this is experiences. We all know what experiences are. Everyone uses the word experiences all the time. Oh, I had a fantastic experience on my recent holiday. I had a fantastic experience at Glastonbury Festival. But what does experience mean? We use it in our everyday life, but let's have a quick look at the definition of experience. And essentially, we can define experience as something that is personally relevant to us. If bottom line, it's something that is meaningful to us, something that is maybe emotionally significant. So this is a very basic definition of experiences, something that normally we have through the consumption of services and products. And when we look at experiences more in the context of tourism and travel and events, and we can also say that because we travel away from our everyday home environment, we can say experiences are not just the experiences we would have in everyday life, the mundane experiences, but actually they're quite different. They are different experiences and they are distinct from everyday life. And also we can say an experience is something that occurs when, let's say, a tourism producer, tourism provider and a tourist consumer meet and they create value together. So it's really this moment when those two parties, those two actors come together and create a great experience. So this is just really to give you a bit of a review of what experiences are, so we're all on the same page and we can look forward to understand experiences. But the second question I would like to ask is maybe even more important than understanding what experiences are is why at all do we desire experiences? I mean, looking at around the table, why do we, as tourists, as consumers, all want experiences? Why are those so important to us? Well, first of all, if we look at the theory and post the Industrial Revolution and everything, when products and services really turn into experiences, we realize that products are simply interchangeable. All the businesses produce the same. If you go to the supermarket, a lot of products, but there is sometimes little differentiation between those products. So what we really need to do is create experiences. nowadays, if you go to a restaurant, you don't just want to satisfy the need of not being hungry anymore. You don't just want to pay for having a meal. What you really want to have is getting a dining experience. Get an experience with your consumption of that pizza, for example, okay? So it's really about creating experiences. And nowadays, the literature has shown in the turn of the century, early 2000s, that what businesses need to do is really create fantastic custom experiences, experiences that are unique, that are competitive, and especially memorable to the consumer. So what does that mean? It should be about experiences that you remember. When you come back home, you will speak about it for a long time. Memorable experiences stay in your mind. Okay, and this is really what has led us to this whole movement of the experience economy at the turn of the century, also as Elenia already mentioned. And the experience economy key proposition was really that we now need to provide consumers with great experiences, but those experiences ultimately should create value for the customer. And this is what it's all about. And of course, if we look at the business perspective, companies quickly realized that if you not just create services, but if you actually create experiences, you have a distinct competitive advantage over your marketplace and your other competitive companies. And what essentially Pine and Gilmore proposed, and this is a simplified model of what also you were showing before, is the progression of economic value. And I just want to demonstrate you, because this is a really simplified model of what is happening. And if we take the example of coffee, at the very bottom we have an undifferentiated product, it's just coffee beans. You probably pay £1 for it, but not much more, because everyone sells the same. So how can we make it different? How can we create something from a very simple product and get it to an experience level? Well, you might change the package, but then it's still a product. But then suddenly, when you go to a coffee shop, maybe here at the university, then suddenly you wouldn't pay £2 for a package, but you pay £2 for a cup, because you also get the service with it. You get the delivery of the coffee. But our question, this is what we're here for, is how can we turn the simple coffee consumption into a great experience? Okay? And how can we make this happen? Maybe think about it in the events, but also travel and tourism context. If you are drinking a coffee on the top of a mountain, a nice ski resort, and you get a blanket and sitting outside watching a beautiful mountain view, then you might even pay more for it, because you as a customer suddenly you not just drink a coffee, but you have a whole experience with it. And this now allows you to create much, much more value for your experience, and you're also happy to pay for it. Okay, so this is the experience economy, and it has been working really, really well for the last decade, and all businesses really went into that and understood the value of it. But now, consumers, and also because we use now social media, we've become empowered. And this is where we have started with the concept of co-creation. Consumers are really now not just consuming anymore, but consumers are also producers. Consumers want to get involved in every step of the way. They want to be part of experience creation. They want to have a say in personalizing experiences. They really want to get engage in a dialogue with the company. You don't just, as a consumer nowadays, you don't just look at websites and consume the content that you find online. But what are you actually doing is you engage with them on Facebook. You engage with them on Twitter, on different channels. You evaluate the businesses on TripAdvisor. So there's an active dialogue now happening. And this has particularly been enforced through social media. So in a nutshell, now we're co-creating with companies. So it's really a model that we can see here. It's really a twofold dynamic interaction between two parties, and in the middle, this is where they meet, and this is where the marketplace occurs, this is where the experience is created, and also the value is created, okay? So this is the basic idea of this interaction. And this is our very starting point. And beyond that, here we've got this twofold model of companies on the one side and consumers on the other side engage. We also can see now that we have a new concept. This has also been emerging in recent years, and this is C2C co-creation, meaning customer-to-customer co-creation. And this is also especially important for events, because now we realize the customer is very important, the customer is in the center, but now the customer is not just co-creating with us as a business, the customer is also, and most importantly, co-creating with other customers. And this is where the experiences are happening, and especially in the event context, if you think of the Glastonbury Festival, the organizer can only do so much to facilitate an experience. but ultimately it is the consumers with the other consumers who co-create the experience together. So a very new concept to remember also is C2C co-creation is a really new way that allows customers to create value with each other. And the businesses really need to facilitate this environment. In an event setting, what can you do? Well, you can facilitate meeting spaces for other customers to engage. You can establish hashtags for people to use and engage with each other. So it's not always that you need to be involved in the communication as a business, but sometimes it's simply and merely about getting your customers talking to each other. Leading up to this event conference, for example, and we all were engaging online in social media, it's great because we had a dialogue all together, whether it was the delegates, whether it was the speakers or the organizers. We all were communicating, and this is what B2C but also C2C cooperation is about. Okay, so the key message for cooperation before we really turn into technology is that the customer is now the new starting point. So it's not about the business who creates this experience in isolation, but it's more about putting the customer in the center, understanding what they want, and most importantly, how we can get them involved in order to create great experiences. And if you want to create nowadays contemporary, consumer-driven experiences, co-creation is really the way forward, okay? Good. So this is co-creation in a nutshell. And the next topic of my 3 balls I showed you before is social media, of course. So, social media has really been a driver of this change, and we had the technological revolution, we had the impact of technology on our products and services, and we really understood that technology plays an important role. It has affected our everyday lives, but it also has affected the way we travel, we consume products and services. And especially, technology has really empowered us to create fantastic experiences, has empowered us to co-create with each other. And if we look at all those new technologies, such as augmented reality, we can see technology is no longer just enhancing experiences, but technology is actually creating new experiences. Because if you use augmented reality, if you imagine things that are not there anymore because they might be in the past, but through augmented reality you can see it, then you experience travel in a new way. You suddenly experience a destination in a new way that hasn't been there before in this kind of sense. So technology is not only a facilitator, but a game changer, we can say. Okay, and what this has led to is the idea that we now have this connected consumer. And this is a model that also has come up within our research on technology and the consumer. And it shows that in the middle, we really have this connected individual, this connected consumer who has a plethora of devices. Whether it is your smartphone, whether it is your Google Glasses in a couple of years' time, hopefully, you are a connected tourist and you take the devices with you. You take the devices with you of where you are. So you are mobile, you are connected. And this effectively means that now you can connect anywhere where you are to anyone on social media. This means you can connect to businesses, you connect to your own social networks, to your friends, to your acquaintances, to everyone online, people that you don't know. Okay? And this is where it comes in to connect with anyone. At the same time, you connect to anyone at any time, meaning real time. You don't have to wait for the information point at the destination to have opening hours anymore. Co-creation, information exchange is happening all the time on social media. There is Twitter communication that really gets you company in touch and you respond in a matter of 5 minutes, almost real time, okay? So this is where we are moving. Many companies are already doing a great job on that, but this is really where we're heading. And most importantly, we are doing those experiences and this engagement on 3 main stages. As Lenia said before, it's not just about the on-site stage, but it's effectively about 3 stages. And if we now combine this, what I've talked to you about, so experiences and technology, we can say effectively experiences are happening in a 3-stage process. So we have the pre-experience, we have the during experience and the post-experiences. And you can imagine technology coming almost like a layer on top of that. So we are using those technologies in order to facilitate whether it's the preliminary information search, the decision making, or the on-site movement, on-site communication at events. So it's all about those things coming together and technology coming really as a layer on it. Okay, so what does this now mean? We've got 3 stages, but essentially we can say that we also can look at 5 stages. So we really started with a very early dreaming stage. So what can you do as a business? This is the question. Well, if you have an event to run, if you have a destination to promote, what can you do? Well, you can use now those tools and see what the customer is doing in their process. So you might pick them up with social media to encourage them to be inspired, to start them in their dreaming stage. So you might put pictures on Pinterest, you might use Facebook posts, you might use Twitter to simply get them engaged, thinking about attending your event, simply thinking, making them try to, I really want to go to this destination because it's great. Then of course we have the planning stage. Again, this is where information is very important. So you need to be online, you need to be part of the communication, part of the conversation, and really be there. So this is happening through different social media channels, and of course when it comes to the decision making, travel review platforms play a big role, because if you look at TripAdvisor and the role they play, or the consumer reviews play in helping you as a customer to make decisions, it's very, very significant. And of course then when the consumer is online, they will experience the physical travel, they will be part of the physical event experience. But beyond that, they will live, in a sense, in the physical world, but they also will live in the virtual world. And when they're attending an event, they're not just listening, for example, to the music anymore, but they are listening to the music, they will be posting on Facebook, they will be posting videos on Vine or Periscope, and they will be engaging with everyone who's around. The people with you on the spot, but also the people, your friends who are not there, okay? And this is where the communications happen. So it's really about connecting people and using social media to create this engagement. And of course then when you go back home, this is what can happen. I mean, those are just a few examples from the hospitality industry, but those are brands that have managed to engage customers on several channels. And suddenly, you're speaking about thousands and thousands of likes, of shares, of contributions from customers. And this really underlines the importance and the significance of how we now co-create. So it's really an active dialogue that is going on how companies and consumers nowadays co-create. And there are several examples where you can do industry best practice. Facebook engagement, you can do mobile applications that are consumer-generated content, you can do KLM's C2C co-creation via the Seat and Meet, where you connect prior to your flight. It was just an idea. So you meet a person you want to sit next to your flight. So another example just of how can we actually get customers together? How can we make this experience for customers, although they're not part of it necessarily? Or the world's first Twitter hotel, Solmelia in Spain, for example, they have put a whole hotel with hashtags where now they try to get the guests in hotel together and communicate it. So you can say, oh, let's meet at the bar and use the hashtags for that. So it's really about an engaging Twitter hotel. Okay, the key message for me, I think, is technology is a catalyst of change. Technology is really a game changer, and we can see it on every level. Technology is really important to create innovative customer experiences. And for me, the takeaway points for business are that in order to be at the forefront of customer creation, it's really about co-creation. Co-creation is the driver. We need to engage our customers, and this is the way how you differentiate your business, but also create additional value. Also, we need to understand that now, as a business, we operate in a multi-phase environment. Things are happening physically in the destination or at the event, but they're also happening virtually at the same time. So it's like multiple layers suddenly where we now connect with the customers. And then, of course, if you want to take leading in experience co-creation and be really innovative, B2C but also C2C is really the way forward, and it really should allow you to get this great competitive level, and this is really the way we see how experiences are going forward in the next years, and then we hope for much more technology that allows us even to do greater things in the future. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.